Let's go.
Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me. Yeah, why would you bet on Goliath when we got Bet David? Valuetainment, giving values contagious. This world of entrepreneurs, we get no value to haters. How they run, homie, look what I become. I'm the one.
Okay, so the podcast many have been asking for, waiting for. We would have liked to have done it last night at 11 o'clock or midnight, but we were at the debate, and Tom is not here with us because Tom's not feeling well, but Tom's got such great insight. He wanted to share on what happened, but we will miss him in spirit. What an experience yesterday was, being at the GOP debate.
Amazing.
The craziness, watching everybody, getting a chance to spend time with Chris, Rumble, Don Jr., Kimberly, Dave Rubin. There was a bunch of people there, right? I mean, it was just interesting seeing the whole dynamic, the competition, the sizing up against each other. The stage kind of looks like what we had at MGM Grand Arena where everybody was debating each other. It was great. But gang, before we go into the topics, there's a question I want to ask you guys while you're watching this. We have a lot of things to go through. We're going to talk about the Tucker Trump podcast. We're going to talk about winners and losers. We're going to talk about, who showed up, who didn't, how it was done. We're going to talk about Russia, Putin, Prigozhin, what happened there. I know we'll bring that up as well. But Rob, can you run a poll first? I am sincerely curious from everybody that's watching this. I want to ask you a question. What did you watch first last night? Not if you watched both. I want to know which one you watched first. Did you watch Tucker and Trump podcast first on Twitter at 8:55 Eastern Standard Time, or did you watch the Fox GOP debate with Rumble at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which was 5 minutes after when Tucker and his camp released it? I actually want to know myself. So, Rob, if you can run that poll and see what your answers are going to be, this will tell us a lot. And I think we'll know fairly quickly within the first 5 or 10 minutes what it looks like. So if you're watching this, just click and give us your poll on where you're at. And let's see if it's going to be 50-50, if it's going to be 60-40. I'm actually sincerely curious because this tells you the reason why this is so important. Which one did you watch? Did you watch the debate or Tucker and Trump?
I ended up watching Steven Crowder's podcast.
Really?
Ironically, and that's why I just kind of tuned into that.
So
Club.
Neither one of them.
And he was doing a reaction to Trump. So I ended up.
You were watching people watching the
I was
debate.
watching.
But wait a minute. So
yeah.
did you watch the Tucker Trump interview, the whole thing?
I watched probably the first 20 minutes of it,
Okay,
and then I
got it.
switched over to the debate, and then I finished after the JV debate. I went back to.
So you were
Trump.
kind of going back and forth. Is what you were
toggling
doing.
back and
Okay,
forth.
Got it. So far we got 2,200 votes, and the 2,200 votes tells you 53% tuned into Tucker Trump, and 47% tuned into GOP. We'll keep letting this voting go, gang. If you're watching this, tune in right now. Just put your vote in because we're curious. Couple things about this to be thinking about to give a credit to it, and then we'll get into the debate. So regarding the Tucker Trump versus GOP, obviously Fox is the former employer of Tucker that fired him.
Yes.
And Tucker goes on his own. So obviously they're not good. Obviously Trump isn't good with Fox the last 12 months
Correct.
because Fox has gone team DeSantis, some would say. It's any team but Trump.
The enemy of my enemy is my
an ally.
friend. There it
So,
is, right there.
Now watch this. There's a third ally there you got to throw, and it's a guy that runs a company called X. And that
Elon
third
Musk.
ally is Elon Musk.
Weird.
The interesting with Elon Musk that's kind of weird, is Elon is not necessarily a Trump guy.
Not at all.
Elon originally was a DeSantis guy that they hosted the first, what do you call it?
His first announcement.
Spaces with DeSantis.
Twitter
It was
Spaces,
broken,
correct.
and then they did it again, and he had to switch to David Sachs's account instead of his. And then recently, just a couple days ago, Rob, if you can find this, Elon comments in a tweet about Vivek saying this is a formidable candidate. So he kind of went off of DeSantis, and he went on Vivek.
Shifting, yep.
Just yesterday. We're talking 24, 48 hours. So that's kind of an interesting shift he's making. And then his mentor, a guy that he goes to for advice, Larry Ellison, Larry Ellison just a
Oracle.
few days ago gave $20 million to
Scott.
Tim Scott.
Waste of
So
money.
so far, what's happening is they're showing it's anything but Trump from Elon and his peers, but Tucker is pro-Trump, and it's being done on X. And Tucker and his team, they go 5 minutes live before
Gangster move.
not ESPN, before Fox shows the debate. How much you think going 5 minutes before got them to get more people watching them first? Because the moments you start watching it, you're hooked. You forgot about the GOP debate, and you got stuck with watching Tucker. I thought it was a very good point you made, Rob, earlier with this angle and the timing. That was very impressive. How much you think that played on people watching Tucker and Trump first?
Well, I can tell you for me, that's exactly what I did. I watched
crazy.
the entire Tucker and then switched over at about 9:42. And then Fox was really smart because what they did is they timed it out so that when Tucker and Trump ended, they went to commercial break. And what did they come back with? The question of, would you stand by the president if he is indicted?
Yeah. But mind you, we were there, so we didn't have an option. But I saw people all inside the arena, Pat, like this, watching on their phones. And then ours started. People, they took out a lot. I'm going to say 30-40% of the people were just like, nah, we're not going to watch Fox, and we're going to go.
Let me tell you, there are certain candidates on that stage. I mean, everyone for that matter, but certainly some of the people at the end, the Asa Hutchinsons of the world, or even my guy Doug Burgum and whoever. You should be thanking God that Trump and sucking all the oxygen out of the room did not show up to that debate. And if he was, none of those people had time talking. I don't give a shit.
Zero.
Asa Hutchinson, get your ass out of here. He looks like Mike Pence's dad. You're lucky we even know his name today. Because if Trump was on that stage, none of those people would be talking about them. Maybe Vivek a little bit.
Yep.
And it'd be interesting to see eventually when Vivek and Trump share a stage, you can't do the Trump ass kissing in front of Trump when he's just going to basically like, Vivek Ramaswamy, he's from the swamp creature.
Yeah.
Like, let's see how that plays out. But these guys should all be thanking their lucky stars that Trump didn't show up and just dominate all those people last night. Because that's what would have happened.
And let's be honest, which I don't think I'd ever be able to do what they did. You're up there. You already know you have all technically lost. You're all fighting for the number 2 spot, right? That's
Or
all that was.
cabinet position, whatever.
Position or whatever. And I get the politics side of it, but that was an audition for the vice president. And that moment when he was like, all right, who's cool with Trump? And Vivek was like, I'm in.
Rob, and we're going to go through a lot of these clips, both the Trump and Tucker one as well as the debate. Rob, if you can tell us the poll, what did the poll end up? It got a few thousand votes. I'm curious to know where we're at right now with the poll. 4,600 votes. 53% watched the Tucker Trump. 47% watched the Fox GOP. And it doesn't look like it's changing. I think that's the lead. So, by the way,
kind of
brilliant
50-50.
move, which means the next debate will be September 27th at what do you call
Reagan
it?
Library
Reagan
in
Library.
California,
Yes, Reagan Library, which should be an interesting one to either attend or we'll do it here. We'll do a live podcast outside of Reagan Library. I don't know, it's 2 minutes away from where I used to live. I've been there many times. So, but when you look at this, so what's Tucker going to do September 27th? Because Trump's probably going to be on stage. So you got to think about who Tucker's going to be having September 27th. I got a whole idea of what I think's going on with Tucker, Trump, and Elon. We were on a flight back with one of our guy that was on a flight back right now. We just jumped on a flight. We're talking about what's going on here. I have a speculation on what I think is going on with Tucker, Trump, and Elon. I'll say it right now until we can go into some of the other topics. You see, what's going on right now is alliances are being built, okay? Just like in social media, when you're creating content, or just like when you're building a real estate business or an insurance business, or you're creating a running for office, or you want to go make movies, you'll see alliances. Adam Sandler has a whole crew of alliances, him, Rob Schneider. How many times do they keep doing movies over and over and over and over again? Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Lawrence. You know, first they do that one
Silver Lining
dancing,
Playbook,
then Silver Lining,
yeah.
then this, and then the next one. So they like
Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson,
John Favreau,
yeah, all those guys.
See, these are alliances. By the way, it's brilliant to build these alliances. It's very, very smart because strength in numbers. It's the reason why LeBron, in his legacy, Michael forever will be known as he had the best team. Kobe will be known as he had the best team as this era. LeBron will never be known as having the best team because it was Golden State that built the dynasty because it was strength in numbers. Okay. So on the debate, when there was a break, I was watching the break more than I was watching the debate because I was watching to see during the break who was going and talking to who. It was very interesting dynamics. I think there's an interesting alliance being built with Tucker, Trump, and Elon Musk. And let me kind of share with you. I've talked about this before on camera, off camera, but I'll give you more and more what's going on today. When I think about Tucker, I'm seeing by the way, I'm 20% where I'm at with this. I'm purely speculating, but it's a strong 20% that I think I'm right, but 80% chance I'm wrong, okay? Here's what I think's going on. I think Tucker, I don't think he cares to be a billionaire. I don't think he cares to be Rupert Murdoch. I don't think he cares to be, Roger Ailes, not the dirty side, but I'm talking about from the side of where he's a king builder. I don't think he's a king maker. I think he's a king. That's how he views himself. I don't think he wants to go out there and be Rush Limbaugh. I don't think he's trying to break the record of being better than, more viewers than all these other guys. Here's what I think is going on. And there's wisdom in what he's doing if this is what he's doing. Netanyahu, Zelensky, Churchill were all journalists before. They got a lot of eyeballs, and they did it at a time without social media. And then when they ran, they won. Now, Zelensky had social media, but the other two didn't have social media when they won. I think what he's doing is DeSantis could have done the same thing, but DeSantis was smart. Didn't make a wise move. If DeSantis would have gone and would have said, you know what, I'm going to stay governor of Florida. Trump's going to do what Trump's going to do. And I'm going to gain the MAGA vote because I'm going to support him. Then I'm going to run in 2028, and Trump's going to come and endorse me, and all of MAGA is going to follow me as voters. The tough part with MAGA voters, they're not going to flip. You know how most people, they'll flip and they'll go from one person to another camp, and they'll be like, as long as it's blue. MAGA's not like that. MAGA's like, you disrespected Trump, I'm done with you.
Yep.
It's a very
loyal.
By the way, whether you like it or not, you can bitch about it all you want. You have to be strategic.
Yeah.
I think Tucker sees this, and he's saying, who are the two most powerful people I should align myself with? Musk, social media, politics, Trump. What if I win both of them over? They don't necessarily like each other. Musk doesn't go out there saying, I'm going to vote for Trump. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how much Trump trusts Elon, but Tucker's the wisdom one in the middle. He says, I'm going to sit here. Every video, I don't know how much money he's making off Twitter, but you know what's sometimes worth more than money you make on Twitter? A retweet from Elon Musk. Okay? So you get every video of yours, Elon Musk retweets and puts interesting, and then all of a sudden gives you 100 million views because of its followership, 150. What is that worth to you? All the money in the world. So watch this. Let me fast forward to 2026, 2027, prediction time. Okay? Next thing you know, Trump, let's just say he thinks Trump's going to win office. Let's just say, whether he does or not. Trump wins, Trump loses. It doesn't matter to Tucker because Tucker wins whether Trump wins or loses. Because he's shown loyalty to who? To Trump.
Trump, big time.
And he's winning over Tucker, winning over Elon. So here's a question. How many followers does Tucker have right now on Twitter? Can you go look up how many followers Tucker has on Twitter? How many followers does Tucker have on Twitter? Go look up to 9.7 million. When he went to Twitter, I think he was at 6 million. 5.5 million, 6 million. So he's already gained about 4 million followers. As a matter of fact, go on Social Blade and type in Tucker Carlson. Go to Twitter first. No, go to Twitter. Yeah, right there. Go to Twitter and type in Tucker Carlson. And they got to be together. No, they got to be together. Yeah, there you go. Tucker Carlson. Watch this. Go up and see his followership on a day-to-day basis. Oh, shit. Okay, there you go. Zoom in. Look at that retweet yesterday with Trump. How many followers I got in one day? 210,000 followers in one day. Wow. So what is that worth to you to get that kind of followership on a daily basis? There is not a price tag on this, so let's play a game. How many followers do you think Tucker's going to have by end of 2026 if it goes at this pace? So for the next 2 years, 3 years, Elon retweets every one of his videos. He gets these eyeballs. He gets the biggest names in the world to interview. How many followers do you think Elon will have on Twitter by the beginning of 2027, January of 2027? What do you think?
Tucker Carlson?
Tucker Carlson, not Elon. Tucker.
50 million.
Is it fair to say he'll be at 50 million, give or take?
Where is he now?
9.7 million.
10. Let's say 10. I say 50 more, maybe more.
Okay. Yeah. Let's say
it's 25 even.
Okay, let's say 25 to 50 million. Okay. Whatever the number is. 25 low, 50 million high. If you're in that range, you're automatically one of the most followed, influential people in America, in the world. And guess who's retweeting you? Musk. Now you announce, look, rumor has it, Tucker's thinking about running. No, I'm not going to be running. This is not what I want to do. America needs me. I'll run. MAGA's loyal to him. Elon's loyal to him, walk in the park. Now Elon's got an ally in the White House for 8 years.
Wow.
Can you visually see that becoming a reality?
By the way, you're 20%. Dude, I'm at like 90% at that time. Like the way that you just spelled it out.
On the fly.
The way that you just spelled it out right
Yeah.
there. It's so funny because we started off this conversation with the enemy and my enemy as my friend. These two are in alignment at this point. They are congruent at this point, Trump and Tucker. It was not so long ago. Matter of fact, it was January 4th of 2021 when the leaked text of Tucker came out. This was right before January 6th, the day of infamy, right? He said, I'm fed up with Trump. All right, this is obviously before the Dominion lawsuit. He says, quote unquote, I'm done with Trump. We are very close for being able to ignore him. Speaking of Trump, on most nights, I truly can't wait. I hate him passionately. I can't handle much more of him. This is your friend, your boy, Tucker Carlson talking about Trump. It's funny how things change over time. You know, how Joe Rogan was just voting for Bernie. Now he's an alt-right guy. It's like things happen, certainly during COVID, so quickly, so vehemently. Things change so fast that all of a sudden that you're in full-on alignment. Now think about what's happened with Trump and Tucker over the last 12 months. The Murdochs have come out and basically said, we're done with Trump. I mean, they've explicitly pretty much done that, right? You know, after Roger Ailes died, they were just like, all right, gloves off, we're done. And then they fired Tucker after the Dominion lawsuit. There's some allegations they needed a head to roll. He was the top head. So now you have Tucker, who's a man on an island. He can do whatever he wants. There's another good friend of mine that extended a $100 million offer to him. He didn't need that money, but we don't need to go there.
Yep.
Allegedly, his wife's got money too.
He's
Good
inherited
for
a
him.
shitload of money.
You got Trump, and I just to kind of put it all in there, it's setting himself up perfectly for 2028. Let's say Trump wins or even loses, whatever it is. Who arguably would be the next man up? Not Don Jr., not DeSantis. DeSanctimonious. He wasn't loyal. Vivek is an absolute beast. Absolute beast. I think if he ran as a Democrat, that guy would be the next Obama.
100%.
It's very hard to get a brown, skinny Hindu kid elected when you got the evangelical base on the right. I've said that a million times. I think he's an absolute beast. That's just going to be tough. I think Tucker will slide right in, Pat, and do exactly what you said. I'm shocked that you think it's only 20% because the way that you outlined it, dude, very high likelihood.
What a move, though.
Yes.
Right? What a move. Because, you know, what do they say when LeBron teamed up with Wade and Bosch? What do they call that? They call
Big Three.
The Big Three. This is the ultimate three.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
Guys,
No
this
doubt.
is the ultimate three, okay? Ultimate. Elon, Trump, and Tucker. Holy freaking moly. Elon, Tucker,
Yeah.
and Trump. Like a weird. And by the way, without Elon necessarily supporting Trump, because I think in Elon's mind, and again, you know, when you're going up against a opponent or somebody you're trying to study, you want to know motives, right? You want to know motives. You want to see what they're going to be doing. I think Elon, listen, if he wants to go compete with his enemies, who are his enemies? Google, Facebook, Amazon, anybody else that's going to be in his, you know, in his way of wanting to build
Jeff
Twitter,
Bezos,
Jeff Bezos, some of these guys.
Blue Origin.
Can you imagine if he helps Tucker get in there in 5 years and then Tucker's on his team for 8 years? I mean, listen,
And
you're officially like SpaceX. Like the amount of battery machines to put worldwide, the deals with other countries. Elon's thinking about, 10, 20 years. Elon's not thinking, everybody's thinking 1 year, short term. Elon's thinking 20 years. He needs in-house, Anyways, so I think, so if we pick our winners.
yeah.
And don't forget, Biden and Elon Musk have zero relationship.
Yeah.
Zero
I don't think
relationship.
Biden
Yeah.
knows if he's even alive. But Pat, does that worry you at all that type of alliance? Let's say Tucker's motive is what? Tucker really cares about the country because I don't care what
Zero.
Like Elon Musk, what would you think his motive?
No, I don't have any, I'm not saying this based on a negative or a positive.
Okay.
The message on what I'm giving is the following. In life, it's your job to build strong alliances. Either contribute up or lift bottom up. So you're either pushing or pulling, okay? In some situations, I'm a push. In some situations, I'm a pull. Okay? For example, on the podcast, said maybe I'm a pull. I'm playing the role of a pull. But in other situations with people that I'm giving advice to or counsel to behind closed doors that, maybe it's not public information, I'm playing a push. And I would say, I would do this or I would do that. Your job is to be a great flag carrier up, and you have to be a supporter down, okay? That's the ultimate job, what you got to do.
Distinguish between the push and the
Okay, so for example, if I'm part of, like some people don't want to represent a team, that they will never, they only represent who? Themselves. Look, it's dumb.
Yeah.
It's why it's dumb? Because you have to do all the legwork. You have to do it's all on you. If you screw up, it's on you. Go be a solo person. See if you do it better solo. Some people, well, Tucker went solo. No, he did not. Trust me, Tucker's not solo. Tucker made a deal with Elon to get retweets on every video he puts up. That's not solo. Tucker went and became Elon's flag carrier, is what Tucker did.
With no pay, too, Pat.
You think Charlie Kirk is solo? No.
Hell no.
He's a flag carrier and push-pull. You can go up and talk about any of the stuff that are bitter doing it all by themselves. They're eventually going to have a wall they hit. You're going to have a wall. And then they're going to say the following lines. You ready for the lines? I'm being shadow banned. No, you're not. I'm being, I think I'm being this. No, you're not. You're just not. You're just solo. And you don't have anybody that has your back. Guess what? When somebody went after Joe Rogan, guess who's got his back? Dana White, Spotify. Joe's not running by himself. Guess who's got Dana's back when he was running by himself? Trump. Trump got him a place to go fight.
Yep.
This thing about wanting to be solo is amateurish, and it just means you have massive, massive, massive ego, and you think you don't need anybody. It's pathetic to be. And by the way, we've all been there before, but to each his own. When it comes down to competition, you got to build alliances. You have to build alliances. So to me, I respect these guys for building alliances. So let's talk about the winners. And I got a bunch of other notes here I want to share with you guys, and I want to hear what you guys got to say as well. And while we're going through, so here's winners and losers. Do you have your winners and losers?
I do.
You want to go first with your winners and losers, and I'll give mine.
You want to go first, or you want me to go?
Okay, I'll go first. Okay. My winners and losers. I think anytime you do, and by the way, this was our prediction that we made. If you want to take a look at this was the prediction pre-debate. So we gave this to you guys. Rob, you got this from us yesterday or something like that, and you guys kind of put it together. So winners, I thought Vivek was going to be the winner. I thought Pence was going to be the loser. Then shots at Trump, Christie, he did that. Shots at Biden. You have, DeSantis. Most surprising, Tim Scott. I don't think Tim Scott was the most surprising. I thought it was Haley by a mile. Winner, I don't know who you had there, Adam. That's North Dakota's governor, right?
I had an underdog, and I was absolutely wrong. I thought that Doug Burgum.
He broke his
foot.
This
guy got crossed over.
He broke his foot. He broke his ankle, and
they torn Achilles. But you're playing basketball. Some staffer crossed him up.
Yeah.
And he's a 60-year-old man. It was Achilles injury.
I actually like the line he said. I like how he opened it up. He kind of took a shot at himself. I thought it was funny.
He said, "Go out there and break a leg." I did.
I did.
My bad, y'all. But I thought he was going to come out strong because I think he's actually a businessman, entrepreneur. Also a governor. I thought that he was going to do his thing. He did.
By the way, just so you know, what everybody said afterwards, so you know, I had no idea he was until you kind of said who he was, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's actually good. Everybody said, if somebody else said what he was saying, it would have been received better, but he didn't know how to deliver his message better. So he had good policy.
He doesn't have that oomph.
Yeah. So let me just go through my winners and losers. Here's what I got. Number one, I think one of the biggest winners is who nobody talked about, which is the moderators. I thought the moderators crushed it because nobody bitched about them. There was literally nothing said about the moderators. Think about the town hall Trump did with that one girl that used to be one of Tucker's aides. Everybody trashed her. Yeah. Guess what? In this sense, I thought Brett Baer actually did he looked at the audience, was very pleasant. He didn't look angry like Anderson Cooper. Keep it down. Yeah. Keep it down. He was kind of like, hey, can you guys please so we can talk more policies?
And Martha McCallum was.
I thought they were great. I thought they were great. Even the funny moment with Chris Christie about aliens. She laughed. I never thought a person from New Jersey, you know me, why would you ask me about aliens? I thought it was a good moment. Winners, Tucker Carlson, won. Trump, won. Vivek, won. Haley, won. Twitter, won. Streaming, won. Podcasters, won. Rumble, won. Oliver Anthony, won. Those are my winners, who I have. Losers, cable, Asa Hutchinson, I don't think he was going to be anything anyways. Christie, and pretty much everybody else, and I put DeSantis as neutral, is what I put DeSantis at. We can go through some of the other stuff here in a minute, but who were your winners and losers?
I only have one winner for the whole night.
Let's hear it.
And it was Donald J.
Trump.
Because why was he the winner? Number one, listen, 2 days from now, nobody's going to be talking about this JV debate at all, period. The fact that half our audience was watching Trump and not the debate is also a telltale sign. I also didn't see anybody up there on stage that's going to dismantle Trump from the top position. If anything, I think that his lead is only going to widen and widen and widen. And we'll see what happens with everything legally speaking. Whatever's happening in Georgia, we'll see how that affects things. But it's clear and clear and clearer. The MAGA vote ain't going anywhere. He has a stranglehold over the Republican Party, whether you like it or not. He's the guy. And DeSantis did nothing to stand out. Vivek, you know that I think he's an absolute beast. If he was running as a Democrat, he would be the next president. He just, the Republican evangelical base, MAGA, is not going to support a brown Hindu guy. Sorry. But I think he's an absolute beast. And everyone else, I think, is a loser. I think Mike Pence, he's the only person that lost Twitter followers during this. I think he showed some fight. He's as crack a white as it gets, and he's going to get that evangelical vote. That's great. He did have one line where he said, I'd put the Constitution over Donald Trump. And anytime that you're going to see Mike Pence on stage with Donald Trump this next debate, don't underestimate what Mike Pence is going to say on stage to basically torpedo Trump. Now, will it work? I don't know. But don't forget that Mike Pence, he takes the high road. He's going to do his Christian thing. But he's got a vendetta. Don't forget about that.
I
so
think
Trump's
Mike
the only
Pence
winner.
has one outcome. I think Mike Pence only has one outcome.
What's that? Torpedoing
He's
Trump?
only doing it for his kids and grandkids. This is only for his legacy. He's not convinced he's going to be the president.
Right.
He himself doesn't believe he's going to be a president. His family doesn't believe he's going to be a president. He's just trying to protect the legacy of a man who spent his entire life pretty much in public service to say, I did the right thing, kids and grandkids. And then from there, he can live the rest of his life as a working for Fox or representing for whoever it is. I think it was purely a legacy thing for him.
I think you're right. And I actually think that he was a little more amped up than usual.
I agree.
I don't know if that came across
It was
for you guys.
100% in the audience.
And then, again, Trump's the winner. I thought Nikki Haley, did her thing. She's got zero chance. Zero. She's running for VP. You think Nikki Haley's going to fucking out-Trump Trump? One thing was clear. I don't know if you guys saw this. Unless you have that, I can't look away quality, and you talking some smack, Vivek does it a little bit. Even Chris Christie does it a little bit. He ain't going anywhere, though. Dude, that's what we've turned into. These debates have literally turned into, I need to watch this. It's like you got to suck all the oxygen out of the room. So Tim Scott, sorry, brother, you're done. Have a nice day. You're a swamp creature who's been in the Senate for decades now. Get out of here. Asa Hutchinson, who is that? Mike Pence's dad. Keep it moving, old man. Even my guy, Doug Burgum, solid guy. He does not have the eyeball effect. Chris Christie, how have you not lost a fucking pound in 30 years, buddy? How is this possible? Come on, dude.
As funny as, people think it's funny, it's actually not funny.
No,
it's not funny. You don't have control over what you put in your mouth. How the hell are you going to have control
exactly
over other
that.
temptations?
If you can't manage your weight, you're going to and I'm not talking bad about big people that have problems around the world, but you can get healthier and better. I don't trust your decision.
Not 1 pound?
Not
In
he got
30
bigger.
years?
He got bigger. But go ahead, Adam.
So, look, at the end of the day, and I mean this genuinely, this was a JV debate. If you don't have Trump, if you don't have the heavyweight champion in the world fighting, these guys should all be thankful and lucky. But I think when all is said and done, you're going to cut out the 6, 7, 8 characters, which are Tim Scott, Doug Burgum, Asa Hutchinson, even Chris Christie. Goodbye. See you later. You're going to be left with DeSantis, Vivek, Mike Pence, and Nikki Haley, and Trump. That'll be your final 5. Dunzo. Trump number 1. Vivek, I think, will overtake DeSantis as number 2. DeSantis number 3. You got Mike Pence. You got Nikki Haley just for a little female effect. And that's what you're going to be looking at in the next major debates. That's the final 5.
Vinnie.
I think we're all on the same page in that obviously Trump basically won a race, won the best Olympic 100-meter dash, didn't even have to show up. Obviously the winner. We didn't see Rob, our HR, even made a great point. 0 MAGA hats in the entire. There was no MAGA in that place. Like I know there was Trump supporters. Nobody was rocking the gear. Nobody, you know what I mean? They were all just anti. The hell with this. He's not here. Not even there to support. I think another.
You got a feeling there was not MAGA people there?
I felt that they were, they were in the crowd, but Pat, no gear, no hats.
Vinny,
no,
you can't be that naive.
No,
what do you mean?
I saw
they
a
were there.
handful of people with MAGA hat. You're right. It wasn't as much as you think.
It wasn't as much. And when they mentioned, I heard when they were mentioning Trump, Pat, I got some applause, but you heard a lot of, they were booing when they were talking about Trump in that place. So,
yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. But what I'm saying is it wasn't, to me, it wasn't 0-0. So the way they said it, they gave the left side to DeSantis.
yeah, big time.
They gave the right side to Vivek. And then they gave Haley close to where you were
Where I
sitting
was,
at.
all the girls, yeah.
And then some of the, Pence folks and all the other guys were kind of sprinkled all over the place. But, you can't, what crowd do you think had the biggest crowd there? Who did you feel that had the most?
Wow, good. The loudest was Vivek. Like the girls, the energy, but DeSantis had a lot of people.
DeSantis had a lot of people
DeSantis
there.
had a lot. But you know what else I thought the winner was? The Democrats. The Department of Justice doing their thing. Trump, he's getting indicted today, right?
4 o'clock in 23 minutes.
Those are the winners, bro. You know who won? The Democratic Party, the Department of Justice are going after the main guy, Pat, who is the number one. Because at the end of the day, Pat, and I've been saying this not to jump off, everybody, it's Trump. Everybody's like, oh, you're a Trumper, you Trump. It didn't even have to be Trump. It was just we wanted somebody that was going to go against these assholes. And sorry for my language, the establishment. Everybody, and everybody always likes to say that word, the establishment. He's the only guy, he's the first guy in my generation that was like, you know what? No more swamp, no more this. The hell with China, the hell with these people. America first. And what did they do? All that. Swamp was like, no, F you, and made everybody go. Trump derangement syndrome. I never liked Trump. When he was on Apprentice, Year 5, I never gave a damn till I started looking at all the videos of him on all the shows going, I love America, the shows that would never put him on, Letterman and everything. I love America. All I care about is this country. Why do we care about other countries? Who cares about Ukraine? It's America first. So obviously he won. The Democrats are kicking ass because they got the Department of Justice on him. DeSantis, it was almost as if he knew the questions first and he was reading and he knew everything. It was robotic. It was disingenuous. You nailed it. The last podcast we had, you said, and I quote, if this is his only chance, he better come out and talk to us, talk to the people. It wasn't. It was looking down and blah, 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 and COVID this, and he was doing this. And I noticed something about him that a couple people on Twitter were mentioning. Rob could pull it up. I saw him walking like during the commercial with like a hunch, and I looked, and he had on high-rise boots on.
Oh, he wears his boots.
I didn't. No, but look at that. Look, can you get on that, Rob? It was.
He wears those boots everywhere.
But
he wore them when we met with him.
How short is he? Pat? Is he short?
No, he's a big guy.
Well, guess
He's
what? Look
like-
at those boots. Those were uncomfortable. He looks like he's walking uncomfortable.
When we met him, he's I don't know. He's probably an inch or two taller than me, an inch or two shorter than you. I want to say. I'm 6 foot. Pat's 6'4".
But wearing those boots,
I'm saying he's 6'1", 6 like.
He's 5'9".
yeah,
Wait, no, he's not.
Yes, he is. He's
5'9".
No, he is not 5'9".
He's
yeah,
5'9".
yeah.
DeSantis is not 5'9". No
He's
chance.
5'9".
He's short. But anyway,
Well, Pat, according to the internet, you're 5'4". So
Well, no. What I'm saying to you is I remember standing next to him, and I remember looking at his shoes. At best, he's 5'10", which 5'10" is
if he's
tall. 5'10" is a
5'10",
good height.
then he's wearing 6-inch heels.
well, dude,
No,
I'm talking
6
about-
inch would
he
be
was
6'4".
look at those.
He was taller than me.
6 inch would be 6'4". By the way, the cowboy boots. Just look at this. Cowboy boots. What's the word?
Boots.
No, but if you want to find
The heel of the boot.
I just
heel,
got catfished by Ron DeSantis' heels.
yeah. So if you look
No
at
way.
cowboy boots, heel what? What question do you ask?
3 inches? Like how many inches?
3
is he add?
inches.
He's adding 3 inches, and he was in
Okay.
the middle, and he was
That
taller
makes
than
sense.
everybody else.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so if he's 5'10" and
He's 6 feet. That makes sense.
Yeah, he was up there. But he looked-
You got me wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
You catfished
But,
me with them high heels.
By the way, and the other part that some people
Wow.
will say is, when you wear cowboy boots, the first thing you think about is he's from Texas. I don't know it. But I've been in Florida for a while. I don't see anywhere here that like.
It's
there's
not
no,
a thing.
No.
It's not a
Born
thing
and
for
raised in
cowboy-
Florida, nobody wears
by the way,
cowboy boots.
he was uncomfortable, and that's what I'm saying is.
Yeah.
And
Not really.
I can get that strategy. You're in the middle. You're standing. I
Yeah.
think, again, Christie and Pence. I saw them, like you said, in between commercials, hugging, talking. That's an alliance. Those two have Vivek. Awesome, Pat. I don't like the fact that he opened the speech with the same exact line that Obama used about him. And I'm just the
Skinny
guy
kid with a funny last name.
I kind of listen. I think he's a great speaker. Nikki Haley represented the whole section that I was in. Really, really loved her. I think she stepped up. The guy in the end, Asa Hutchinson, whatever.
To me, he looks like Biden's second cousin. They look like they were cousins. We'll look at that picture right there.
Dude, that is insane.
They look like they're related.
Steven
And by
Crowder
the way,
said that
that's
he looks.
Asa at the debate. That's his picture at the debate.
That's crazy. That haircut is
a good
just
look.
politician.
Steven Crowder compared him to one of those white lab rats with pink eyes. He's like that.
Yeah, it does. And then
No, you know who he looks like? You know that one, the pastor, the money pastor. Let me tell you.
he's a crazy, creepy guy.
What's her name? You know, like, hey, I see Jesus in you. Don't you ever, but Tyler Perry is a really good.
scared.
He almost gave away
gave me
the
that
jet.
jet
I
for
had
free.
to. You're like,
Yeah. But and then Tim
give you his
Scott,
name.
they gave him $20 million for the super PAC. He should have taken some of that money and learned to project that voice because I couldn't hear anything. And if they clapped a little bit, you lost his message.
I
in
think
the
you're talking
songs.
about Kenneth Copeland.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, Kenneth
Kenneth
Copeland.
Copeland, scary little.
Yeah, look at that.
demon.
Look at that. He looks
Jesus
like
watching
Kenneth
you.
Copeland.
Look at that
He looks a
guy.
little bit like Kenneth Copeland.
Dude,
Look, the
and
furthest
face
picture
back.
to the right.
Yeah.
No, not that
Not
one.
that one. The
one.
middle one right there. The one to the right there. That one. He
Oh
looks like,
my God.
he looks like
That's the devil.
Asa Hutchinson.
Genius is
Oh
watching
my
you.
God.
By the way, Tim Scott.
I love him.
Respect.
I like the guy.
I'm
I
gonna
love him.
say what Steven Crowder and Nick Paula were saying. It's like black people are known for having like some swag, some energy, some vibe. It's kind of your thing.
He couldn't talk.
You know,
He
it's
was
like
just
how us Jewish people are known for like, hey, telling jokes, being
Yeah, like
complainers. We get it.
Yeah.
Assyrians are known for being angry. We get it. You know, but
Never heard that before.
I thought that's or Armenians.
Armenians.
I
Armenians.
apologize.
Number 3,
Armenians.
Lebanon, Turkish.
I apologize to our.
What if he was like, get to the point, Adam?
But
Punch him in the
dude,
face.
Tim Scott, you got no swag whatsoever. Like, give me a little bit, bro.
Yeah.
I was actually very disappointed in Tim Scott. I
Okay.
thought he was gonna have something.
Can I give some thoughts on DeSantis?
Yeah.
Go for
So
it.
to me, DeSantis, if you looked at how he did, again, alliances, you watch for alliances. Who was shaking whose hand? There was one moment where him and Vivek shook hands. It was uncomfortable looking at DeSantis. I was shaking his hands with Vivek. Vivek was right in the middle of the debate when he came up to him. But Chris Christie and DeSantis talked the entire time. Every break, Chris Christie and DeSantis were right next to each other,
Really?
whispering,
Oh,
talking.
big time, big time.
Yeah,
DeSantis and Christie.
I mean, constantly,
The whole
not
time.
like once or twice or 3 times. Constantly, they were talking to each other.
Interesting
And
alliance
DeSantis,
right there.
DeSantis was the only one that was coming out to
Makeup and
be fair with him. He was the only guy that would come up and would wave at the audience, his camp that was sitting on that one side. Yeah, he was constantly talking the entire time. Okay, so I watched. I'm like, okay, that's an interesting alliance. Why would that be an interesting alliance? Here's why. How many times did you hear DeSantis take shots at Trump? None.
Yeah.
The only shot that he took was super indirect, was about Fauci. First thing I was like, you're fired, right? And okay, that's great. But if we were to count how many times he used the word Trump, I don't know if he ever used it. I'm telling you,
DeSantis did not.
I
really
don't know if
talk about
DeSantis
Trump.
said the
Correct.
word Trump one time. However, his mouthpiece did, and that's Christie. So whatever DeSantis wanted to say to Trump, my opinion, I could be wrong. Anything DeSantis wanted to say to Trump, Christie said it, not DeSantis. So whatever Christie said is what DeSantis really wanted to say. You know, again, my thoughts, my opinion, I could be wrong. And DeSantis, for me, he went up there, and it was obvious that he had certain points to give, which he made his points. He gave his speech, the closing speech. You could tell he said that speech multiple times, and it was great. Some people said he came across a little bit angry. Do you have the New York Post article that gave feedback on every single person, what they were saying? The audience said DeSantis looked angry. Now, for me, I don't mind it. That doesn't do anything for me. Like, oh my God, he came back this. Here's a body language expert dissects Republican debate with surprising insights. Can you go a little bit lower to kind of see what he's saying? Okay, angry DeSantis is what he called it. Go to the next one. Zoom in a little bit left. DeSantis also failed to smile, Navarro said. Okay, keep going. Comfortable Ramaswamy. I thought he looked very comfortable on stage. Haley's strong will, absolutely. Haley, when she went after the abortion, the women, the way she broke down the woman and abortion. Listen, whether you and I as men care anything about that. You see numbers that 67% were against what happened with Supreme Court, and I kind of hurt the red wave that was supposed to happen. Abortion is very, very important for women. She won there, and she kind of called out Vivek in the, the foreign.
Yeah.
You're not ready to be a president because you don't have experience in foreign affairs. Okay, cool. Go to the next one. Let's see what else they say. Friendly Hutchinson, great. Burgum Prop, keep going. What is it? Church Pastor Scott. Okay, makes sense. What is it? Subdued Pence. I don't know about that. He had a 5-second pause every time he was given an answer. Dude, you got 60 seconds. You're taking 5 seconds to respond. Keep going. Who else you got? Who else you got at the bottom? Confident Christie. Okay, cool. Fair. I would give that. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. And then Trump card. Okay. So for me, when I watched DeSantis, this is what I thought about. There was a fighter in UFC. His name was Tyron Woodley. Okay. And when he was coming up at one point, people thought he was going to be Dana White's guy. And I don't know if you remember the falling out between him and Dana. A big falling out between him and Dana. This guy, good-looking guy, incredible body, incredible wrestler.
He got knocked
fighter,
out by
punching. He got by the way, every single way. This guy in UFC was the guy. Yep. What does he start doing? He starts undermining Dana White publicly. He starts complaining about Dana White publicly. No problem. So you know what he does? Then Dana gives him a main fight. He fights. I don't know who he fights. Afterwards, they're asking Dana, so what'd you think about the fight? He said, what did I think about the fight? What did you think about the fight? The guy's like, I don't know. He says, listen, audience was booing. You mean you just want to come and win a championship with points? This is how you want to win? This will be the last time we'll give him a card like this and da-da-da. Guess what? Woodley disappeared, gone, right? Because he just came to win with points. I think DeSantis came yesterday to win with points. And he hit his points. He got his points knocked out of the way. Do I think he went above and beyond what people were expecting him to do? I don't know if I can say that on what he did. I think Nikki Haley, she was last on my list. You know, she came up and she showed up, okay? And she brought talking points that others weren't bringing up. So she brought up talking points where she forced us to talk about that. I thought Vivek, when he got up and he said, I'm the only person on stage that can say the fact that I haven't taken any money from Super PAC. Okay, wait. You know, hey, I know what you're thinking right now. What would a skinny kid from a name that? Okay, that was when Chris Christie called him out very quickly. Sound like Obama.
Obama, exactly.
And all this other stuff. But Vivek made you think. He sold a dream. He sold America. He sold the future. He sold what's going on. He sold, where we are as a company. You didn't see any of that with DeSantis. It was a lot of he hit his point, he hit his point, he hit his point. And he hit his point, and he hit his point. So if there's a job to say, I want you to go there, say this, make these 4 points, and get out, guess what? He did it. But you need more than that to go against a guy named Trump or even a guy named Vivek. So I don't know if I saw DeSantis coming out the gates the way I was hoping for him to come. That's why I gave him a neutral, it's not a plus, not a minus, not a winner, not a loser. He just came to do his job and he went home.
So you don't think he connected? Remember when you talked about him connecting, Pat? And we were live.
He was the only guy that wouldn't look at the camera. He was looking at Brett Baer the entire time. Rule number one, Brett Baer doesn't matter. He's not your vote. It's the camera. Look at the camera.
DeSantis was?
DeSantis was only looking at Brett Baer. I'm like, look at the camera. And you know who Vivek was looking at? Straight at the camera.
Yeah, at us.
Okay, which one's our camera, Rob, by the way, for the audience? Can you tell me which one's the camera?
Your solo, Pat?
Is it this one or this one in the middle?
I think your solo was the middle one.
Okay, so imagine if this is my solo, that one.
That's solo.
Look at the difference of me looking at you right now if you're watching this. Just look at my eyes real quick. Are we not making a connection right now if that's the camera? If I'm looking at the right camera. I don't know if I am or not.
Yeah.
If I am, we're making a connection. Now watch this if I look here. So, we're doing, so that's what you got to do. And you're like, hey, talk to me. You're not talking to me. I don't know. It's just, again, basic elementary stuff that when it comes down to marketing, connecting, storytelling that you got to do. And Vivek hit that. Vivek hit the mark.
Listen here, America.
Yeah. Hey, America.
I want to have a moment in time with you right now.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a new day in America right now. This is probably the most important election of our lifetime. We understand that, right? No, you're absolutely right. It's, you got to address the audience. You got to talk to the audience. You can't. Vivek is the only person up there who has that Trump quality. That, yo, bro, I'm just shooting from the hip here. The only difference is, how many people came after specifically Vivek? Let me back
Everybody,
up.
right off the bat.
Everybody knew that he's the guy.
Chris Christie hit him with the
Yeah.
Chat GPT
Yeah.
line. He's like, listen, I don't need Chat GPT from India over here giving his thing. Mike Pence said, listen, we don't need on-the-job training.
Yep.
I need to be in there day one. Nikki Haley they were going at it. She's
By the way,
like,
the on-the-job training was funny, and
Yeah.
then when he said, "We don't want him too old,
Yeah.
and we don't
We
want
don't
him
need him too young."
And then did you hear what Vivek said? He says, "Listen, folks, this ain't that complicated.
Yeah.
You're making it seem like it's a complicated job."
Yeah.
Nikki Haley went after him on foreign policy,
Yeah, she
Ukraine,
did.
Israel,
did.
what have you. But it just goes to show every single one of them was like, all right, I got to go against the guy who's beating me in the polls right now, and that is Vivek. None of them went after DeSantis. How many people went after DeSantis last night? I don't remember one. Do you?
No, everybody was.
How many
cool.
people were like, Ron, you should have stayed governor of Florida, wait your turn,
Well,
MAGA?
Vivek did. Vivek, when he went like this or he went like this.
There you go, Vivek.
Is the
Vivek
only one that went after DeSantis.
And who did Vivek go after? The only one that he went after was the guy that's a little bit above him, DeSantis. It's called punching up.
Yep.
This is why Trump doesn't have to show up. He's not going to punch down to Asa Hutchinson or to Tim Scott or whoever loser is polling at 1% or 2%.
You know who took a
in
shot?
the polls?
You know who took a shot at Trump though? That
Who?
wasn't on the panel. Brett Baer, when he goes, let's address the elephant that's not in the room. Everybody
And he
was
wasn't talking about Chris Christie, right?
and he
Because
wasn't talking about
Yeah.
Chris Christie, who was right in front of
But
him.
who is the
played.
true elephant?
That's
in
the real elephant
That was
in the
a
room.
good one that Kelly brought up. Shout out to Kelly.
Yeah, Kelly, shout out, baby.
But what's it called? You know when they said that? Rob, can you tell us when Fox went into the break and they came back with that elephant in the room question?
So it was right around 9:42 because I started watching.
Sick.
Tucker went live, and at 8:55 I started watching 17 seconds after it went live. As soon as it ended, I switched over to the Fox app and started streaming. They literally said, "Okay, we're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to find out. Will you back the president if he's indicted?" Commercial break, come back, first question right out of the gate.
So you know what that almost means? That almost means Brett Baer and Fox knew
Of course.
that the first hour, ask whatever bogus questions, because all the Tucker audience and the Trump audience is going to come after the first hour.
Smart tactic.
It's crazy It's counter programming between a media company and Twitter.
Yeah. Wow.
It's
Yeah.
old age media versus new age media
Totally.
counter programming each
Totally.
other.
Yeah, and what was the rule they had that other social media accounts could or other digital media companies could only post 3 clips from the debate? What was that whole thing, Pat?
Yeah, I mean, there was something they were saying, and I think Ben Shapiro was that he was not happy about. He slammed Fox pretty solid. He didn't hold back at all about what they were doing. I think it's in one of his tweets where he explains what it was. I don't know how many. If he tweets a lot, you're not going to find it. Okay, right there. There you go. Fox News, any media covering tonight's debate are only allowed to post up to 3 minutes total of the footage. That's about 2 clips for all coverage. By imposing these ridiculous restrictions, they're not only depriving voters of relevant and important news, they're also actually just giving a leg up to Trump, who is putting everything out for free on X with Tucker. Good point. He makes a very good point. But it was interesting. It's interesting how every competitor, CNN, MSNBC, was driving everyone to go watch the debate.
Why?
Because they were scared of going and watching Tucker and Trump.
Smart.
They
Smart.
anything but Trump. Remember the rule. Anything but Trump. Go watch anything.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend. CNN, who's their enemy? It's not even Fox at this point. It's social media
Social
companies.
media, of course.
So they want to see ratings up on the Fox.
And CNN, like I've never seen this before, but CNN actually had, because in order to watch it without having a Fox or a cable subscription, you had to download the Fox app. CNN was actually advertising how you could go and download the app and stream it live. When have you
Fox
ever seen
News's app?
That'd be like
Yes.
that'd be like us going, okay, Daily Wire has this content. Let us show you how you can go and watch
Yeah.
it. Why would we do that? That's not.
Well, we many times give the shout out to Daily Wire. We don't have a problem people going and getting. I think one time even on a podcast I said, go support Daily Wire. It's $14.99 a month. Go support all these guys. We don't care about that because we're playing a different competition. But specifically with them, you make a very, very good point on the fact that competitors are driving to go the fear of anything but Trump, Tucker, and Elon. Anything, which is fantastic to see competition taking place.
I just want to make one more point about the Republican field right now. You have an Indian guy, you've got a black guy, you've got What's Nikki Haley? I
White
think
girl?
she's like, no, she's not white.
not
I think
white?
she's from Indian descent. I think
What,
her
really?
family is literally from India.
So, so Indian, African American, Pence, white.
Where's she from?
Couple white guys. Where's
Yeah.
she from?
You got Chris Christie, who's, an Italian
Hey, where's
donut.
she from? Born in what? Born in.
No, she's born in the States, or else she couldn't be able to run.
No.
Yeah,
She's from the States, but where's her parents from? I
she
believe
was
they are
born in
from
South
Indian
Carolina?
descent.
Early laugh. Mother. Oh, yeah. Her
yeah,
mother,
yeah.
Raj.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
So here you have a very diverse panel.
Yeah.
That's vying to be president of the United States, or certainly tapped as the Republican nominee. The only problem with that is, name the last time that a white man was not the Republican nominee. Name the last time, Vin. You know your
That's a
history.
great point. I don't think
A Republican Party, when's the last time
That
a
a
white
non-
man was
was not?
nominated?
I
That
don't-
it was not a white man.
I don't think it ever has.
Correct.
It never
Never
has been.
happened.
Always been a white
be the-
guy from the Republican Party.
Oh, that's Republican.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
that's just,
that's-
it is what it is. I mean, 70% of our country was white. So what I'm saying is, whether you're Vivek, whether you're Nikki Haley, whether you're Tim Scott, no chance, you're trying to become the first non-white man ever to be the nominee. Now, this is why I said Vivek or Nikki Haley or even Tim Scott, they'd have a way better chance if they were ran as a Democrat. It's never going to happen. It's not going to happen. But, between Obama, between Kamala, whatever, VP at this point, but between Hillary, there is at least a track record of not just a white man. So it just, the uphill battle in the Republican Party, not only to beat Trump, never going to happen, but to be the first who's ever done it in the history of America, it's very tough to do.
So Pat, just really fast. So Trump's not in. Let's say Trump's not even. It's next election cycle. Out of everybody that was up there, who do you think who would it be close or
Tucker.
You think, no,
Tucker.
no, I'm saying. Would you,
No,
you,
Pat sold me. Pat's 20% sold me at
By the way,
100%.
when he told me this, 20%, I was like,
I think
it's
you're
way
shortchanging
overfunded.
yourself,
But
Pat. I
if
think
you,
you're-
Pat, and just from you seeing it, the speaking, the policies, everything that you heard from everybody up there, who would be your number one pick to be the president of the United States? If you had to pick, no Trump. Trump is out of the picture. Who do you pick?
Out of the guys on the stage, yes.
Everybody that was on stage.
And we have to vote today.
And you have to vote today. Mail-in ballots. Who do you think? Who'd you feel? Me and you were there live. Who do you thought? Who edged to the front? Who'd you think was full
really
of
putting
shit?
Pat on the spot right now.
Hey, I'm gonna ask you too, Adam.
Oh, shit.
You too, Rob. Rob, Trump is out. Who do you have to vote? We're voting today.
I already
Emergency
have
vote.
my answer.
You're
Yours is
voting
what?
Okay.
DeSantis?
If
today. You have to vote. There's no Trump. Trump is gone. He's
to
old.
me,
He's
it's
finished.
not even a question. It's Vivek.
Okay.
It's not even a question. That is me. Now, I've said once or twice that the Republican Party of old white men is not voting for a skinny little brown kid with a
Okay.
weird name. So that's a different answer. But I would vote for Vivek.
And give me the one thing that sticks out for you.
Revolution, Vinny.
Are you serious?
Wake the
though?
hell up.
Are you serious? Or you're joking?
What are you doing? Sleepwalking through life? Time to wake up and have a revolution.
I love it.
Sick of your shit.
So you are with.
I think he's such a stud. I think he's got a business background. I think he's sharp. I think he's captivating.
So here's what I would have to say. If it's like I have to decide today, I don't know enough yet to see. I feel like I need a little bit more for me to be able to vote today. I don't think I have enough information on Vivek to be able to vote today. I'll tell you, he's more my kind of a guy than anybody else on the stage. He's more my kind of guy than anybody on the. Yeah. When you talk to a lot of people, they're like, well, listen, he's ChatGPT, he's this, he's Indian, he's Hindu. Do you trust him? He was WEF, World Economic Forum, Soros, all this other stuff. I want him to get cornered with all those questions and see how he answers them. When I asked him the question about vaccine, he was uncomfortable. But you know what he said? He says, look, I was traveling. I'm doing business. I had to take the vaccine. But if I had to do it all over again, guess what? I wouldn't have taken the vaccine, okay? The angle he took. And you know what I say to that? Cool. I respect it. Right. You made a mistake. You wouldn't have done it again. I'll take that from you. I'm totally cool with that. I can receive that. When he's getting cornered by Costa, how he responded, when he's being challenged, when he's being pushed around, do I worry on what he's going to do when he sits across these other guys? I don't think he's a guy that gets intimidated.
No.
I mean, he's done business deals with so many different people. I don't, Yeah, he doesn't look like a guy that can push him around or be scared. He stood up to Mike Pence. When Chris Christie says, here's a guy that, he gave the speech on Barack Obama. Do we want another Barack Obama? And then Vivek said, yeah, why don't you come and give me a hug, just like you gave Barack Obama. You helped them win. Yeah. So again, look, that wittiness,
fighter,
that wittiness that he came to, boom, I'm going to give it to you.
Bingo.
I like
Witty.
that. So for me, he's got that part. With DeSantis, I almost feel bad with DeSantis. Let me tell you why I feel bad with DeSantis. I feel bad. Because, there's nothing more annoying. It's very hard to do this, what I'm about to say. When somebody is dying to have a job, but they're just not cut out for it to have that job, okay? Or you're dying to be, the whole saying, you can be anything you want when you grow up. That's a lie. It just is a lie. I can't be anything I want if I want to grow up. Mm-hmm. If I said, since 12 years old, I want to be the freaking dunk contest champion in the NBA. I get 20-inch vertical leap. I'm not winning a dunk contest in a freaking junior high school with 9-foot rims.
You are the Armenian Dennis Rodman. You're a rebounder.
Yeah. Hey,
sharpen those elbows, Bill Laimbeer style. You get in there.
I want to be the greatest coder of all time. It's just not going to happen.
No.
I want to be the greatest compliance officer of all time. Okay. I want to be. Think about that.
Yeah.
So there is a part that either he has to calm down in these types of settings, and he needs to be a little bit more smiling, happy, selling the dream, likable, all of that stuff, and win me over. Mike Pence is running on seeing him as a father figure, and we want him as a father to go be the president. That's Mike Pence's brand. So he talks like a father to you. And I remember when I was back in the days, my father. And that awkward 5-second pause.
Yeah,
Dude, you got 60 seconds.
It's
not a 2-hour podcast.
Talking about Pence?
Yeah, so Pence is positioning himself to be your father as a president. DeSantis is positioning himself to say he's the smartest guy to be the president, most qualified guy. Mm-hmm. You got Tim Scott positioning himself, and guys, everything's going to be all right, and we got no problem.
Men play
Vivek
sports.
Is running it as, look, I'm going to roll up my sleeves, get to work. We're going to do this, try to catch up because I'm going to outwork everybody, and we're going to have a blast, and he's a sense of humor. The day of the debate, you know what he was doing the morning of the day of the debate? He's playing. What was he doing? Was he in the morning went on a boat or something like that, or playing basketball, just chilling? Yeah. And then he goes to hits the stage at the debate, and he's doing a video with his kid, and he says, hey, honey, any feedback for me before I hit the debate? One of his kids says, watch out for Christie. He's going to come after you. And he posted a video he's showing tennis video. So he's got that, the Indian John F. Kennedy, except he's the guy that made the money, not his parents. And even Obama didn't make money. This guy made his own money. He's a self-made guy. So I would say today it would be him. By the way, watch this. Rob, can you show the picture of trending? Can you show the picture of trending I sent you on who was trending on the same day, same time? Not this one. The other one. Keep going. One other one. I had one other picture I sent you. You don't have that one. Okay, I have a picture here. I'll try to send this over to you. 2 people were trending on Twitter at the same time. One is Vivek, 491,000 posts. The other one is Ramaswamy, 16,000 posts. Guess what?
Guy.
It's the same freaking guy. That's how bad he was trending on Twitter. And what I told him, Rob, I just sent this to you.
How good he was trending.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. How good he was trending. But here's the point. Here's the point what I told him as well. I said, listen, ain't nobody running without having to overcome some kind of skeletons or something. They're about to come after the guy.
Yeah.
Really come after the guy. Hardcore, especially after last night. They're going to come after him. They're going to call all his old enemies, all old exes, all old business partners, all old everything. There's going to be billboards around the high school he went to, around the college he went to, saying, what dirt do you have on Vivek? Text us as dirt. Right. At for Vivek, right?
They are.
They're going to get pictures. Right. They're going to get all the. By the way, you know how this old Dylan Dennis guy that kept posting pictures about Logan's girl?
Yeah.
Guess who's sending it to him? All of former friends of her that don't like her that send the pictures to Dylan and Dylan. That's how you get it. Like when you target somebody. So I remember when what was his name from Texas? The governor
Greg Abbott.
Not Greg Abbott. Prior to that.
Rick Perry.
You know in Texas
they were doing
ads. Rob, is your mic on or off? Because it makes a sound when you're doing that. Okay, so they would text Governor Abbott. They would call people in Texas and say, "Who do you know that hooked up with Abbott? Who do you know not Abbott?
Perry.
Who do you know that hooked up with Perry?"
Phone calls. to
And he's a
people's
good-looking dude,
houses.
These
too.
are good-looking guys. Like,
Ain't
who do you
nobody
know that
hooking
hooked
up with
Perry?
Abbott.
Who-
He's in a
This is
wheelchair.
the dirt.
Stop.
This is
You
the
can't.
dirt.
There's ways of doing it. But yeah,
That's a dirty-
so, huh?
That's a dirty side of politics. This is when
Yeah.
it gets dirty.
Yeah.
Sucio.
Yeah. So guess what? Vivek is about to go through it. That's all it is. He's about to go through it. And between now and September 27th, you know, when it's going to be in Ronald Reagan Library, we're going to see what's going to happen there. So can we go into the Tucker and the Trump thing?
Can I give you the last thing about what Vivek said? I think it was very powerful. The last thing, his last things, where this is the reason why Vivek captivates people, because he can just off the hip. Oh, that's why you hugged Obama. All right, cool. Yeah, that's spoken like a true lifelong politician. Bang, bang. He can very quick with the retorts. But then when it's time for him to state his case, he's direct. Number 1, God is real. Number 2, there are 2 genders. Number 3, human flourishing requires fossil fuels. Saying that.
Yep.
When a country that's going green, a Green New Deal, right? Number 4, reverse racism is racism. Number 5, an open border is no border. Very direct. Number 6, parents determine the education of their children. Number 7, the nuclear family is the greatest form of governance known to mankind. Number 8, capitalism lifts people up from poverty, okay? Number 9, there are 3 branches of government, not 4, basically calling out the alphabet soup out there. And then number 10, the U.S. Constitution is the strongest guarantor of freedom in history. Very direct, very clear, knows what he stands for. So Vivek is an absolute beast.
Great. You know, and by the way, for those of you watching, we're about to launch our next town hall we're going to be doing here live. The last one we did was with Vivek. The place was jam-packed. We couldn't fit anybody in that place. There was like 300 people in the building. If you want to be a part of that, the VIP tickets sold out very quickly. Everybody got a chance to meet Vivek and at the Cigar Lounge, which was kind of a great experience for those who attended. I can't tell you who our next person is, but if you want to be the first to buy the tickets, lock in your spot. Text the word podcast to 310-340-1132. Once again, text the word podcast to 310-340-1132 to be notified, because those people in the text get the first notification of who's going to be on the podcast. Okay, at the live town hall. Next, Trump and Tucker. Okay, lots was covered. The first thing that we can talk about is the number. If you can go to the video to see how many views it's got, a lot of people are saying, well, you know, this thing is it got this many views and that many views, and there's a lot of criticism that people want to kind of trash the amount of views. I'll just give you the basic formula for us from the back-end standpoint. It's the top one. If you can click on that, zoom in so we can see you can pause the video. There you go. Zoom in and to see the data. There you go. So it shows 233 million views, okay? And it's at 678,000 likes. How many comments does it say? Go a little lower to see what the comments are, because it should show the comments as well. They apparently took the comments out. It should have comments.
Say?
Earlier was 50,000 comments.
Scrolling down.
Yeah, but don't get distracted. So stay on here real quick. So what does it say? Hunter, it doesn't show you the comments, Rob. Can you refresh it? It was showing comments earlier. I don't know what they did to remove the comments. It's so funny because comments was shown literally earlier today. Let me go on it from my phone, where it shows how many comments it was.
So 178 reposted it. Only 17,000 quotes. 678.
You want to know how many comments? Okay, here's it shows. On mine, it shows 54,500 comments is what it shows. By the way, you have to go back. So go back to Tucker's account. Go back to Tucker's account. Go up a little bit. And 54,500. So stay right there and just pause the video. Okay. So 54,500 comments. People are saying this is the biggest thing ever since sliced bread, 233 million. Obviously, a lot of people watched this interview. But the numbers work in a different way on how they do the math to get the insights. For example, Rob, did Brandon give you the interview we did with, what's his name, with Andrew Tate? If you have that, if you can just pull it up, I think you do have the picture somewhere around here that he took a screenshot of it just for people to know, because this is important to know the difference right there. So this is one of our interviews we did with Tate, okay? And each one of them, I think, has gotten 15 million views. Is this the second one or the first one? This is the second one. Okay. So we're just kind of opening up the hood and just showing it to you what happened. So this got 15.1 million views. If you show that, where it says 15.1 million views, Rob, if you can circle around this so the audience can see it, 15.1 million views. Perfect. If you look at impressions, it got 133 million views. On Twitter, that is that, if that makes sense. Now, if we go look at how many, how many comments this interview got with Tate. Let's just go look at the comments. Because that's one of the ways the guys in the business, who we create content, we look at stuff like this, okay? The number of comments Tate's interview got, this one, is, what's the number if you want to read it? The comments is what? Right there, it says it.
70,000
70,000 comments. So Tate's interview got 70,000 comments. Tate is not more controversial than Trump and Tucker the day of GOP, meaning that interview still got around 20 million real views. That's still a big interview being done. So, as much as people are saying, well, it's not this, it's not that. No, it's still a massive interview. It's still a massive eyeball. It still hit 20 million views where people stuck around to watch the whole thing because you're also looking at retention, all of that stuff. You can get off of this thing here, Rob, if you want. So in reality, big interview, big numbers, but Twitter a couple months ago took off showing the real views, and they're only showing essentially the number that's impressions. Okay, so that's that part. Now,
So it's 11%. That's the number.
give or take, just look at about a tenth. Whatever that number says, it's around a tenth.
Got it.
Still, 23 million views in less than 24 hours. That's a lot of freaking views to talk about.
I think that's it's a very, very important point that you're making, because if you know anything about CPM and views and Nielsen ratings and everything with that, like if you look at even Forbes' entire article today was Trump's interview with Tucker has more than 150 million views on X, Twitter. Here's why that's misleading. That's their number one story. And I mean, a buddy of mine is like, they got 185 million views. And I'm like, no, that doesn't work that way. It's actually 18.5 million is probably the best way to put it. So right now, there's the Forbes article right there. So what was the number of views that we just had? 233. So it's more like 23 million.
Yeah. So if you just
Make
scroll,
sense?
So Adam, basically, if you're on your phone and you just scrolled and that interview popped up, that's an impression.
Well, can we pull up that Tate interview like that we did? All right. 133 million impressions. We didn't get 133 million
of course.
views.
People just
we got
saw it
15.
on YouTube. They just saw it in
So
the
I think
in a
it's
square.
very important that what you're putting out there, Pat,
Yeah, I
is
mean,
accurate.
the point's been made. So you kind of now have an idea to look at what the numbers look like, okay? This is a debate amongst media companies, because when you're selling ads, hey, which one is the real ad to get? Because I can get 10 times the amount of money or dollars. So, that's the marketing side. It is what it is, okay? Now, some of the things that he said, Trump said on the show yesterday with Tucker. I'll read a few of them, and then we'll get into some of these here to talk about it. Trump tells Tucker Carlson he should not have been fired by Fox. President Trump said, I think it was a terrible move getting rid of you. You're number one on television, and all of a sudden we're doing this interview, but we'll get bigger ratings doing this crazy forum than you're using than probably the debate. Trump then blasts Christie, saying savage maniac. Trump criticized fellow Republican primary contender Chris Christie, characterizing his campaign strategy as he solely runs on the basis of let's get Trump. And he talks about him betraying him, et cetera, et cetera. Trump then attacks Barr after Tucker raised the Epstein report. When questioned about former Attorney General William Barr's report on Epstein's death, Trump shifted to critique Barr's approach to the 2020 election fraud claims, stating Bill Barr didn't do an investigation on the election fraud either. He said he did, and he pretended he did. And then he continues, Barr became so petrified, so frightened of being impeached. Then Carlson asked Trump if he thinks someone is plotting to kill him. Directly, he asked this multiple times. Carlson asked, the next stage is violence. Are you worried that they're going to try to kill you? Why wouldn't they try to kill you? Honestly, Trump responded by expressing his faith in the intelligence of the American people, stating, I think the people of our country don't get enough credit for how smart they are, and then while dismissing the criminal indictments he faces as bullshit. Then on January 6th, political violence, he stated, towards a civil war, that there's a possibility this could lead to a civil war. That was kind of talked about. Then Trump questions Biden's competence. Trump said, I think he is the most corrupt president we've ever had, and he also has distinction of being the most incompetent. I think he looks terrible on the beach. And I think Tucker said with his chicken legs or skinny legs, whatever he's got. And then he said, I only call one person at a time crooked. It used to be Crooked Hillary, but now it's Crooked Joe. So what was it for you when you saw the Tucker Trump interview?
I thought, and I think Kelly mentioned this earlier, Pat, the fact that it was a chill conversation. It wasn't crazy. He wasn't trying to act in front of an audience. There was nothing going on. It was one-on-one, and it's like, bro, he's the boss. He's the number one. And to be honest with you, I don't think it wasn't anything impressive. I think it was the tactics of airing it when they did, Pat. And like you said, that alliance right there is going to be that for the future of the whole Trump thing. That right there is the alliance of the future, because I think Tucker is taking this to run for president when it's time. That's it.
Yeah. Look, the words are almost meaningless to me.
Yeah.
It's just sort of Trump, Tucker, the symbolism of it during the Republican presidential debate.
Yeah.
And these two, Tucker would typically be like moderating something like this, and Trump would be center stage at something like this. Neither of them are there. They're on the X app, Elon Musk's new project. They're just doing their thing. They could have talked about anything, literally anything. And if you're a MAGA crowd, if you're a Trump supporter, you'd soak it all up. If you're looking for another candidate, you would have been watching the debates. It's pretty much is what it is. Whether they talked Epstein or indictment or January 6th or immigration or China, whatever it is, it would have been sort of, as Trump famously said, I could go out and shoot someone on Fifth Avenue. I wouldn't lose a voter. Yeah. I literally believe that. I'm actually yearning for him the day to go shoot somebody in the face on Fifth Avenue. I'd like to see how that happens.
You're yearning? You're obviously joking when you're saying that.
No, I'd like to see if it. I'd like to see it.
All it was, Pat, was basically, hey, don't look at what they're doing over here. Yeah. I'm the man. Look at me. It wasn't something explosive. It wasn't crazy. I mean, he talked crap about what's her name, Kamala Harris. He said she talks in rhymes, and he made fun of her, which was hilarious. He goes, I went on the bus. They saw me on the, or something like that. He killed her. He actually spoke positive about Newsom, which was kind of weird. He goes, the policies are horrible, but I like the guy. He's a good-looking guy.
I've always gone along.
I've always gone along with him. I know how to speak with him. He did the what's it called? But yeah, the Epstein thing was kind of awkward because he kind of was. He didn't give a straight answer. He's like, he might have, I don't know. He might have killed himself.
Why do you think he tiptoed around the Epstein thing?
I don't know.
He's usually very direct.
Yeah, I really don't know.
He's hung out with Epstein a bunch.
But Rob, he called him the Manchurian candidate. And if you guys know what that is, Joe Biden. That's, I mean, if you guys have seen the movie, like that's not a good title.
I'll say one more thing about Trump. There's people who will never leave him, and there's people that have left him in droves. Who am I talking about? The MAGA community, the MAGA crowd, they're not going anywhere. They're doubling down. They're going to be there for him. You know that he has that base. But it's also very interesting to me who he did call out yesterday. So he called out Bill Barr, right? Obviously Pence, he called him out. Especially the one thing Pence had to say is that he chose the Constitution over Trump. And then Trump obviously rebutted today. I never asked you to do anything. But just look at Trump's inner circle over the last 4 or 5 years since his presidency. Very few are left. Pence is gone. Chris Christie, who was his debate advocate, right?
Yeah.
Gone. Bill Barr, who was his attorney general, gone. General Mattis, General Kelly, Rex Tillerson, Secretary of State, all gone.
Who was the CIA guy? The bigger guy, Pat? Who was it, Rob? He was the head of the CIA. Damn it.
I don't know, but they're all gone. Oh, Mike Pompeo, Secretary. He was Secretary of State. Gone.
Yeah, he was in the CIA.
Hell, even Omarosa's gone. So he's gonna have to replenish his inner circle.
Yeah.
But power to the people. The MAGA community loves him. But anyone who's been in Trump's orbit is nowhere to be found. It'd be interesting to see if literally Jared and Ivanka are even going to come back.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the good and the bad.
I think there's, how you talk about for in 2020 people voted for what? They voted for
against
exactly.
They would have voted for a ham sandwich.
It could have been called anything except.
They would have voted for Weekend at Bernie's, which they did.
Exactly.
Sure. So they exactly. So but the question is, so now everything that they said about him at the time, 80% of it is all false. And it came out with Twitter files knowing if the New York Post article wouldn't have been held back the way the administration reached out to hold it back, Trump's probably the president. Okay. If COVID doesn't happen, Trump's the president. Even with COVID happening, Trump got a project, what do you call it?
Warp speed.
Warp speed for vaccine, those who wanted the vaccine. He got that done for them. That's the guy who got it done, and then they announced it 3 days after the election was over with. There's so many things that points at this thing. So, the voter, there's a part of the voter, Adam, that and I don't know if it's fully there. I think there's a part of the voter with him that's like, how many more things you're going to make up about this guy that I'm supposed to believe? And just like some people said, anything but Trump in 2020, that camp, there's also a camp right now that says, I wonder what this guy's going to do when he comes in and wins. There is a community there. Is that enough to win the presidency? I don't know. Does Biden have enough right now to beat Trump? I also don't think Biden has a great resume that if they go neck and neck, it's not like one is doing that much better than the other guy. I think it's such an evenly matched thing that for the Biden people that want, for them to think 2024 is going to be the same as 2020, they're absolutely naive to think it's the same thing. They were one New York Post article away from Trump being a president, period.
Yep.
That was a done deal, right? They were one COVID situation away from him being a president. Done deal. So that's that part. You know, there's a...
Wait till that happens again, though.
What? A COVID?
Something.
Masks?
You know,
It's a
if
lot of
it's
people
Trump
that are talking about that.
You're saying
Yeah.
if it's September, October 2024, and it's neck and neck, you don't think something's going to come out of the woodworks about Trump?
I am not.
Bet on it.
I am convinced this guy scares the people who are the establishment folks who have such that card that they've been using to get access to so many different things. They're dying to be this guy, but they want this guy's life without earning what this guy's done to earn the life. They want to be cool like him. They want to go to the parties like he did. They want people to love and be admiring him the way he has his following. None of those. Who on the other side on the establishment has people that love him the way this guy's loved? They don't have any of it.
Nobody.
They just don't. And that envy is a very... Enemies who are envious of you, brother, those guys don't just want to beat you. They want to destroy you. They want to make you disappear. They want you to never, ever exist. But they did this 2,000 years ago to a person. He's got a bunch of people that know him. They did this to a guy out of Africa, South Africa. He ended up coming back and winning. They did this to, a bunch of different people in politics, and then boom, they came back and they won. History is filled with stories of trying to destroy people like him. Churchill was hated. There's some stories about Churchill which is crazy. But I'll give you one thing that makes me think about with Trump. Here's the one thing I think about with Trump. When I watched this sit down with Tucker, you know how I felt? A part of me felt when I was watching his body language that he's lonely. And what do I mean by he's lonely? Not lonely as in he's sitting around listening to Only the Lonely. I'm not talking that kind of lonely. I watched him. He wasn't the typical fighter himself. I watched him. He was a little bit more careful. He was a little bit more held back. He was a little bit more like, man, like how many more things is he dealing with? Are you going to pay for this guy's legal fees? Are you going to pay for that guy's legal fees? Are you going to pay for this guy? I remember when we started the company and the company that sued us, they didn't just sue me. I'm like, if you sue me, I'm fine. Sue me, the company, and my wife, I'll represent us. But they ended up suing a bunch of my guys. So they were trying to divide them against us. We almost didn't work out the first 6 months. Legal fees, have to pay for this or pay for that. You got to get the money. You got to get and then if we're spending the money, we're going to go out of business at a company. If my guys are spending the money, they're saying it's all your fault, Pat. He's going through that right now. And there's an element of no matter how tough you are, internally when you're by yourself, you're alone. So do you know Onassis? Who Onassis was?
Onassis?
You're saying who she married?
Yeah.
He was a general, I believe.
Onassis was at one point the richest man in the world.
He was up there. Yeah.
And after Jackie and John F. Kennedy got a divorce, Jackie ended up marrying Onassis. Okay. So now Onassis was a good-looking guy, handsome, loved, respected, powerful, pushed the envelope. He was a womanizer. Girls loved him. He had all these weird art collections. He was the guy. Like you wanted to go on the boat to be at Monaco, all this other stuff. An incident happened between Jackie and John F. Kennedy, and eventually Jackie got close to him through the sister, all this other stuff, and he was always a fan of Jackie. So they ended up marrying each other. Here's a crazy thing. Do you know who Onassis became best friends with at the time that trusted him the most? Churchill. Him and Churchill became very good friends. Churchill didn't trust a lot of people at that time in his life, but he trusted him. He trusted the fact that he could spend time with Onassis and they would sit down, whether it's playing cards or but Churchill felt like he can open up around a guy like him. There was no competition. Onassis wasn't trying to use Churchill to go get women or to go do this. There's nothing Churchill could give Onassis, nothing that he couldn't get on his own. So Churchill felt this was a sincere relationship. When you're Trump, you know what's the scary thing when you're Trump and you're in the last 10, 20 years of your life? There's a part of you that's wondering, everyone tries to take something from me. They're either using me to get a relationship. They're either using me to get some fame. They're either using me to get eyeballs. They're either using me to do something they're going to do in 4 or 8 years. You start, and when you're in the last 10% of your life, 20% of your life, you start asking questions and saying, man, am I just being used at this point? Is that all it is? Am I just being used? Am I just being used? I don't know if he has an Onassis friend in his life. I don't know if he has somebody in his life where he can sit down to and just talk, and that person has zero desire to go and say, you won't believe what Trump and I talked about today at dinner. He told me this. Please don't tell anybody. Just between us. Forget. And you know when people say just between us? Well, guess what happens when it's just between us? It's just between you and everybody else nowadays. There's only a few people in your life when they say, dude, nothing's going to go to anybody else. Yet when you're working in a 1099 business, and you're building salespeople, that anybody can leave you at any time and go anywhere else. They don't have to be with you because they have to. They leave you because of what? They choose to stay with you or leave with you. You know what's one of the ways you get people on the 1099 side to trust you long term? No matter how much you learn about these guys, good, bad, ugly, dark, anything, keep it. Have it between the two of you. The value of that is one of the biggest insurance policies. I look at him and I say, I wonder how much he's got my back. Is he 100%? Maybe 80%? Where's Adam? Is he 90%? That's how I look at everybody. That's how I look at you. That's how I size everybody up. I'm sizing up to see where this person's at. And then that's going to give me a percentage of how much I can open up with this person and how much I can't open up with this person. Then imagine being Trump the last 7 years. They've ruined your incredible life that you had. Your life was awesome. Everybody would go to parties, dinner, everything. You had an incredible life. You lost all of that just because you run for office. Now, all of the people you gave money to behind closed doors want to ruin your life, and you don't have an Onassis in your life. I think Trump needs a relationship where the other person wants nothing from him, and it's a low-key relationship that nobody knows, nobody needs to know. It's off the record, never interviews, never public, never tweeting, nothing. That is the most valuable relationship for him today, and I don't know if he has it. I don't think he has it.
That's such a great point, Pat, because I don't think he's. If you had to guess, what kind of person would be a person that he would be able to sit in a room and be like, "Yo, bro, like, what's going on? Are you okay?" Like some normal people get a psychiatrist. Who would Donald Trump be able to? I don't even think, Pat,
No, there's always people there.
In his circle that would be.
The list is not a long list. The list is not a long list, but those people are there. The list is not a long list.
And it's probably someone that we don't know. And then, Pat, going back to what we were talking about the fans, about the real Trump-loving MAGA that Adam was talking about. And then I was thinking about the other day, because, like, mind you, Pat, I'm not saying I'm getting tired of him, but Pat, Trump is just, every time we see him, it's Trump. Everything is Trump, Trump, Trump. I can't even get mad at the hardcore MAGA representing pissed off core that he has, because if you think about it, from all the cheating, from Hillary with Russia, from the FBI, from the laptop from hell being held back so that people wouldn't be able to vote, from COVID, from it being unleashed from China, which, believe what you want, I believe the timing of that was the most suspect thing, especially with the relationship Trump has with China. But do you guys remember in 2017, the Houston Astros, and mind you, I'm a huge Yankee fan. Shout out to Yankees, minority owner, Pat. Huge Yankees fan. The Houston Astros in 2017 cheated. Okay? They got caught. They got caught cheating, Pat. The Dodgers, I was in LA. Dodger fans were like, they were furious. Okay? They were going bananas, but guess what? The Houston Astros still won. Nothing happened. They still get to keep their thing. Think about those Dodger fans, Pat, when they hear about Houston. They are furious at Houston because they cheated, but they basically got away with it because they don't have to relinquish their championship. The thing about it, Trump fans are those Dodger fans that are like, you know what? F you. We're still.
It's a very good point.
You feel me?
Very good point you're making.
And mind you, I'm a huge Yankees fan. We got cheated that year too. With Altuve.
I remember Judge even talked about it.
Dude, I got goosebumps because I remember watching that game too with Altuve grabbing his chest, going, "Don't rip." Because you got a mic. You got a mic on you, or a system on you. So I changed my view because I'm like, why wouldn't they be pissed off? And why wouldn't you? And to be honest, if you guys didn't try to F him over and cheat him, Pat, he'd be finishing his second term. You guys would be done with Trump. But now he's going to be.
And by the way, you know what's crazy? Do you know if they would have done that, DeSantis would have probably been the president?
100%.
You know because there is no friction between the two.
Zero.
There would have been no opportunity for friction. So
There you go.
they almost doing it to Trump also took away DeSantis' potential future president.
100%.
What a thing that happened. So again, look, I don't know what's going to happen. Again, there's an audience that wants to see that, but go ahead.
I know. I just Googled real quick who are Donald Trump's best friends, and there was multiple articles, some from Politico, some from Vanity Fair. The number one guy was a guy called Tom Barack. Do you remember him? He actually spoke for him in 2016. He was his inauguration chair in 2020. But he's been dealing, I guess, with some legal issues. The other names that keep popping up are Rudy Giuliani. I don't know if that's like a best friend.
No.
But that's someone you have in your life. You hired him as his lawyer.
It's tough.
Another one is Roger Stone. I wouldn't necessarily classify that as a best friend. But I think you're right. I don't know if he actually genuinely has just like...
No,
like for you have Steve, you have Alpha, you have guys that these are your... not business related, just genuine friends in your life.
So for example, think about look at Joe Rogan and Dana White. How many times have they done a podcast together?
Zero.
None.
I don't know if they've done a podcast together.
don't
Have
think-
they done a
no, I
podcast
I think
together?
they have.
I don't think so.
Dana White podcast. Has that ever happened? I don't know if it has. Maybe it has, and we missed a mark. If they
I don't
did,
think so.
I just don't think
Says
it.
February 21st of 2021.
Okay, so they did
They
one
did
podcast
one?
together. Okay, good. But if you think about it, how many times do you think they could do a podcast together? Joe's got a bunch of people he's had 20 times, 10 times, 30 times. He's
Yeah.
got, these guys. Brian Callen, I don't know how many times Brian Callen's been on. I don't know how many times some of these guys have been
Duncan
on.
Trussell's been on there.
Those guys are his guys, right? Okay. The backing they have for each other, Joe and Dana, it's a great relationship. It's phenomenal to have that kind of backing. I just think, when I saw Trump yesterday, and when I watched the Tucker interview, he didn't seem like himself. He kind of seemed a little bit, I don't know if I can use the word defeated. I just kind of will use the word of
Fatigued?
little bit fatigued.
Trump?
Is what I would say.
Yeah, dude.
Really?
I got that feeling yesterday a little bit. I got that.
And you've never said that.
I've never said
You've
that.
always talked about how high energy is.
I don't mean by high energy. I think he'll still do laps around most 25-year-olds when it comes down to work. This is not what I'm talking about. This is when, when your boys, who always said they have your back, they have your back, they have your back.
Yeah.
And then some of them are like, well, look, man, I talked to Mary and just, I'm so sorry. I would, but, Mary talked about the kids and, they're trying to go into the school and, she knows that if our son, who could be a guy that goes to Harvard, and I just know if I do that I don't want to hurt John. And you look at him, you're like, wow, bro, you told me you had my back and now you're doing this? It's nothing personal. Do you know how many people I've told him that in the last year and a half? How many people think I've told him that? 100? 200? And he's sitting there saying, I got you the job at freaking White House. I got you that job on the show. I made a phone call to the NBC executive. I got your wife to get the kid to go into that school. Now you're doing this? Oh, my. He's experienced that times a few hundred. And you know what he's probably asking? Hey, mom, hey, dad, what do I do now with these people? Like, do you understand what I'm saying to you? Like, all of those calls you made for people you didn't have to do that nobody knows. Now those same people you helped them elevate in their lives now behind closed doors want to be like, you didn't do nothing and gratitude is gone. I'm experiencing that a little bit on my own side in a different level with people you're in business with. I've experienced that the last, 5 years, whatever the timeline is. And you kind of say, okay, but on a minuscule level compared to a guy like this. So that's the feeling I got when I saw him. Look, it is what it is. We're going to see what's going to happen. But, that was my feedback when I
How
saw
much
him.
of this is the day before everything that just happened in Georgia today, right? The indictment came down. He basically, I think, turned himself in. Is this happening as we speak?
Now, 7:30 tonight.
Okay, so it's happening.
Read the tweet, matter of fact. Put it
It's
up, Robin.
happening
Let's read the tweet.
24 hours later.
Here, just read this tweet.
Yeah.
Adam, read this tweet.
Sure, there's 231,000 views and still counting.
231 million.
Sorry, 231 million views. My apologies. Can we punch into that? The biggest video on the social media ever, more than double the Super Bowl. But please excuse me. I have to start getting ready to head down to Atlanta, Georgia, where murder and other violent crimes have reached levels never seen before, to get arrested by a radical left, low-life district attorney, Fannie Willis, for a perfect phone call. It was perfect. We all know that. And have the audacity to challenge a rigged and stolen election. Stolen misspelled. The evidence is irrefutable. Arrest time is at 7:30. clearly this was, I guess, the answer to my question. This was on his mind.
By the way, how impressive is it? The fact that he spelled irrefutable right but stolen wrong.
It's amazing.
That's the biggest
amazing.
takeaway. As a guy that always took ESL, I'm just
Yes.
impressed by that.
Kofi.
So he always gets the
Kofi.
hard right, but he gets
The easy ones.
You know what?
Is,
It is what it is. Go ahead.
No, this has to be on his mind. I mean, look, the Mar-a-Lago raid, okay, that's one thing. Stormy Daniels, another thing. But, this perfect phone call thing, there's going to be people on the other side of this stand saying that it was not perfect and that this is the reason that they are charging him for this. So this has to be weighing on your mind, at least a little bit, no? At least a little?
One of what do they call it? The cuts of thousands. What is that one? The
1,000 cuts? Death by 1,000 cuts?
Yeah, it's like,
Yes.
how many cuts does
Yes.
this guy
Death by exactly.
but Pat, isn't it crazy that he's gaining more people because the people are seeing this for exactly what it is? And Ramaswamy said it last night about that's, dude, you're using a party. I never thought that this shit it would come to this. A political party is using the Department of Justice, that's the majority of are all Democrats, to go after this guy because they know he's number one, but he's gaining more of a following and more of a backing. And it's great. And what going off of what Pat said, Pat, his soul, it wasn't his physical fatigue. It was in here. It's like, bro, this guy has been fighting since the day he was like, all right, I'm going to run for the people. The moment he said that for us, I don't care what you want to say, when he said he's going to fight for us, everybody behind closed doors, the Swamp, Chuck Schumer, that other rat, what the hell, Nancy Pelosi, everybody turn on and say what you want. He gives a shit about us and everything that's happening. His name, his career, he's about to go to jail and get a freaking mugshot. The amount of shit that you do, he's not perfect. I understand what he did in New York and dealing with the mafia and getting control. I don't give a shit about any of that. The moment he said he's for us, everything went to downhill, and he's still fighting for us. And now he still wants to go in at him and do another 4 years. And it ain't like they're going to go away. You think the Swamp, all the alligators are going to go, no, he's good. No. They're going to keep coming. They probably have more shit that they're going to try to do for him. But that's the thing. Anybody that talks about helping us goes to shit. That's why Ramaswamy, they say that they want to fight for us, bro. That's the template of what happens to you when you give a shit about the American people, is everybody, just like Chuck Schumer said, if you say anything, the Department of Justice has 7 ways or 6 ways to come after you, and look what they did, bro.
Okay, so, all right, we'll see what's going to happen here. Again, this is, nobody told you to run for office. That's the one thing you got to, every time, like when I'm running a business or, things are not going your way and you're dealing with 50 different types of pressures, you know what I go back, it's my line that I always go to last. I say to myself, no one asked you to be a business owner. Mm-hmm. Who forced you to be a CEO, Pat? Who forced you to go start a company? Who forced you to get married and have 4 kids? Who forced you to do it? Who forced you to, after you sold the company, to want to keep going with nobody told you to do it. You chose to do it. So as much as when you go through that phase of feeling bad for yourself, you have to go back to, no one told you to run for president. You chose to do it. So, there's a picture of Abraham Lincoln in the White House with a quote that says, being a president is the greatest burden a man could ever have. It's a burden. You age. It ruins you, destroys you many different ways. It's not for everybody. And those who do it, you're going to carry a lot of stuff with you when you go through, and it's kind of going through right now. We're going to see how it's going to end up the next 15, 16 months.
What a great point, Pat. Nobody asked you to do this. You chose
it's
to
a
do
choice.
this.
It's a choice, man. It's a choice. Okay, so a couple other things to go to. Prigozhin and Putin. One of the things that was brought up yesterday was by Nikki Haley. And he says, look, I don't know if you guys are sitting here defending Russia and saying, hey, why don't we just give Ukraine's land back to Putin and that's what's going to happen. Putin killed an opponent today. He killed an opponent today.
Yeah. That's
what he did. And she kept saying, the audience was like,
yeah.
Wow, that was a big applause when that happened. Mm-hmm. Rob, do you have that list on the article that Peter was talking about? You know which one I'm talking about? The list, is this the one?
Yes.
So here's a Vladimir Putin speculated hit list of critics and enemies. If we can kind of go through this here. So Vladimir Putin at the top has been a long shot. Rob, are you going through the names? Okay, Colonel KGB. Okay, here we go. Prigozhin, which, by the way, there's a video of it. If you want to put the video of what happened to him dropping the plane and you kind of seen it saying, Yeah.
And there's some people that might not be familiar with what just transpired over the last few months with him.
Why don't you bring everybody up to date?
So I remember when it all happened. It was the same day that we did the podcast with Alex Jones.
He was here. It was live.
He was sitting here. He's sitting here, and I don't know if Alex Jones had done his research on this. He's like, oh yeah, Prigozhin. Let me tell you. Well, yes, he runs the Wagner group. It's basically the Blackwater of Russia. It's like a mercenary group right there, and he's going through the streets right now, brother.
Yeah.
And like basically what happened was, this Blackwater military group that basically it's a private military group. They're they're doing their own thing. They're fighting in the Ukraine, a militia, but like mercenaries, probably the best way to put it. They were going through the streets of Russia on their way to Moscow to essentially, as it was labeled, do a coup. Right? I mean, that's this happened in Turkey a handful of years ago. Things are progressing, but eventually they stopped at I think one major city. There was a sort of an agreement or an alliance formed, and part of that agreement was that you're going to go to Belarus, you're going to get out of here. He was greeted by the people in the streets of Russia as a hero. Some people in Russia are not exactly fans of this war, especially the 200,000 mothers of young men who were killed over this war in Russia. Mm-hmm. So obviously there's some issues there. But then Putin, like a tiger waiting in the wings, banished him to wherever. What's funny was I read an article on him 48 hours ago. This happened 24 hours ago about that how he was fighting ISIS in North Africa, and I was like, that's so random. That Prigozhin is now fighting ISIS of all things. Did you see any of that?
Yeah.
So then apparently his flight, his plane was shot down.
Yeah. So did you, Rob? Did the audience actually see it? The video?
They played it as B-roll.
Sounds good. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what happened.
Yeah.
Now,
and U.S. intelligence said that it was intentionally caused explosion that crashed the Prigozhin plane.
Well, and this came out just I want to say 40 minutes ago. There was a tour. They were getting ready to sell the plane that they were on yesterday that crashed. And I have to find the video, but you can actually see people doing tours. So they were showing the plane to potential customers. And the suspect, what people suspect happened is that somebody put a bomb inside of the plane while they were showing it to potential buyers.
And Pat, you want to talk about a gangster move? I mean, first of all, if you try to do a coup on a leader like that, guess what? There's a saying, you F around, you find out, first of all. But then, Pat, the most gangster thing is Putin. Adam, me and you saw it upstairs. Putin was like, hey, with regard to the aviation accident, that's how he started the condolences. He's like, I want to express my sincere condolences to the families of all the victims. It's always a tragedy. And indeed, if they were, and initial data seems to indicate that Wagner Group employees were also there. I'd like to note that these are people who have made a significant contribution to causing the fighting of the neo-Nazi regime. And then he goes, Prigozhin, I knew him for a very long time.
This is Putin on Prigozhin?
And I knew him since the 90s.
I saw him
say, a man of difficult fate, and he made mistakes, serious in life, and he achieved the results that were necessary for himself. It's the biggest gangster move, but bro, you mess with Putin, that's the shit.
Do you think Putin was behind this?
1,000%. That's not an accident, Pat. There's no way, bro.
99.99999%.
Yeah, you try to do a coup. You try to fight against a guy who's poisoned people.
You're about to read the people over listening point. I think it was Putin it wasn't like he wasn't sad. He wasn't somber. He's like, he was a man of difficult fate. He made serious mistakes in life,
is this it?
These are the results that he got.
Play this.
Look at this.
Can we get audio?
This is not how you react to the death of your
начала
friend
90-х годов.
in a plane accident.
Это был человек сложной судьбы, и ошибки у него были серьезные в жизни. И добивался он результатов нужных и для себя, и тогда, когда я его просил об этом для общего дела, как вот в эти последние месяцы. Он был талантливый человек, талантливый бизнесмен. Работал не только у нас в стране и с результатом работал, но и за границей, в Африке в частности. Занимался там нефтью, газом, драгоценными металлами и камнями. Вот он вчера только, насколько мне стало известно, вернулся из Африки.
Listen.
Yes.
We
It
all
was-
know. No, listen. I'm saying all this. You know it was me, but I
Yeah.
have to say this for camera because
Let
but-
me pretend
So
to
here's
wipe
some of the
away
people.
the
So we
fake
got
tears.
Yevgeny Prigozhin. Okay,
Yeah.
so we just heard that one. You got Pavel Antov, Russian tycoon who fell from Indian hotel window in December of 2022 after his 65th birthday. He was also criticized Putin's war on WhatsApp.
Just back up a second. You know those Indian billionaires, Russian, who just want on their birthday want to jump out a window, you know,
Yeah.
while they're celebrating their birthday being a billionaire in India, nonetheless.
Maybe he had one too many chicken curries. Who knows? So Ravil Maganov is the openly criticized Russian-Ukraine's invasion, called for conflict, and then he fell from Moscow hospital window.
A lot of
So
falling.
a lot of falling.
A lot of
yeah.
falling out of windows, Pat.
Dan
Yeah.
Rappaport,
Rappaport.
the businessman, condemned Russia's Ukraine war on supporting Ukraine. Daily Beast, founded in D.C. apartment area, August 20th, Florida license, $2,500.
That should scare the hell out of everybody right now.
Which is
because
what?
this is an American, okay, that was criticizing the war, okay, and he was in D.C. and just found dead.
Weird.
Who
Forget
wrote this
about the
article?
or-
Who wrote this article? I mean, Christy, you might want to, like, you know what I'm saying? Christy, you might want to change his name. He's like, Christy's going to go to Peter and say, hey, would you mind if we put your name?
Please put your name for who wrote this and
Mikhail Lezin, Russian press minister, was found dead in D.C. hotel room November 2015 from head trauma. He was very influential in Russian politics and had tons of information of the leaders class. Boris Nesmetov, ex-deputy prime minister on the Oregon, he was totally shot near Kremlin in 2015, walking home from a restaurant. Boris, I mean, this list goes on.
Pat,
okay?
but you know what our friend Anthony Weiner would say? Pat, he's been in politics forever. These people just fall off of buildings, and these are deaths that come up. Pat, we know it. We know it.
You know who would have a lot of stuff to say about things like this? Glenn Greenwald. Okay.
Yes.
We should have him on.
Could we have him?
By the way, if there's a guy that can talk a lot about this, because he's the first guy that interviewed. Is he not the first guy that interviewed?
Putin?
No. When he went and interviewed, is it Snowden or is it?
Snowden was the first one. Documentary.
Documentary. The movie that was made. He went and
Amazing.
interviewed him, right?
Oh, it was amazing. One of my favorite documentaries.
Yeah, it's a very. I say we have him on tomorrow on the podcast.
Wait. You are? Oh,
I say we have him on. I say we invite him. Rob, is it okay if we have him on tomorrow?
Sure. we can
Okay.
try.
So we'll have him on tomorrow. He'll be on the podcast. Is he on tomorrow? At what time is it tomorrow?
9 a.m.
9 a.m. You know, my schedule says 5 p.m. tomorrow. Or is that the? Oh, that's the
No, it's
prep.
prep.
I
Prep
got you.
today.
Okay.
That's a prep today.
So tomorrow 9 a.m. we'll have him on. We'll go through a bunch of these different things together with him. But aside from that, gang, again, we are about to announce our next town hall that we're going to be doing. And another live podcast we're going to be doing, an interesting one with a couple people that actually would like to debate each other. It's going to be an interesting one. And once we announce these and they sell out, every time we get complaints, so every time when people say, Pat, I can't believe I want to buy a ticket for my husband or my wife, just make sure you're on the text list. And when it comes down, buy and get yourself registered. Text the word podcast to 310-340-1132. Once again, text the word podcast to 310-340-1132. And if you enjoyed today's podcast, give us a subscribe as well. I don't know where we are right now, but we'd love to get to 2 million
done with the
subscribers
podcast
now. We are.
for now?
Yes,
This
we're
is
done
done.
with the
We're done.
podcast
Okay.
today.
yeah, we have.
We're doing another one tomorrow. So anyways, gang, thanks for being with us this afternoon. I know we typically do 9 a.m., but we were at the debate, so we wanted to make sure we got to you guys as well. Take care, everybody. We'll do this again tomorrow. Bye-bye. Patrick Bet David here from Valuetainment and PBD Podcast. Look, once a year, we host a conference called the Vault Conference. It's our Super Bowl where 3,000 entrepreneurs, CEOs, executives, salespeople from around the world come together to spend 3.5 days together from August 30th to September 2nd at the Diplomat Resort in Miami to learn how to scale their business, how to identify their next 5, 10, 15 moves, who to recruit next, who to go raise their money from, how to raise capital, how to properly scale, culture, retention, hire, fire, all of those things and much more. And we do that over a span of 3.5 days. And the reason why it's a very important season to attend a conference like this, the following reason. Today, there's 3 different types of people. They're scared, there are those that are content, and the obsessed. The scared, they don't want to do anything because they're worried about what's going to happen in the economy. They're going to take a big hit. The content, they're walking around saying, life is pretty okay, I don't need to do anything else. And then there's the obsessed because they see a massive opportunity today. So imagine spending 3.5 days with 3,000 obsessed people that want to grow in a season like this. Imagine how much you can learn from just those relationships and networks. So on top of the people that are going to be attending at this event, there's probably the best lineup we'll ever have at a Vault Conference. Tom Brady, 7-time champion, I'll be interviewing him. He'll be at the Vault Conference. Mike Tyson, Will Guidara, the gentleman who ran the restaurant 11 Madison, New York, that went from a regular restaurant to a 1 Michelin star, 2 Michelin star, 3 Michelin star, and eventually the #1 restaurant in the world. He's going to talk about how they treat their customers. So look, if you've not registered yet, this is my recommendation to you. I never went to conferences when I was coming up by myself. I always went with a spouse, with a business partner, or running mate, because I only have a lens on what I see. Every night afterwards, we would sit there and say, what was your biggest takeaway? So get yourself, your spouse, your partner, your running mate registered to come spend 3.5 days with us at the Diplomat Resort in Miami from August 30th to September 2nd. I will see you there.